From a brawl in a beer hall to a plot by Nazi rebels, learn the tales of 6 assassins who nearly succeeded in killing Hitler. The first attempt on Hitler's life occurred nearly 20 years before the start of World War II. In 1921, Adolf Hitler, who was still relatively unknown at the time, was giving a speech at a packed beer hall in Munich. People from different political groups were there, and tensions were high. Suddenly, a huge fight broke out, and someone even shot at Hitler. But amazingly, he wasn't hurt. He kept on talking until the police arrived. This wild event, called the Munich Beer Hall Melee, didn't scare Hitler. In fact, it made him even more determined. Just 2 years later, he tried to take over another beer hall in a coup, but it failed. Even though he ended up in jail, this bold move helped him become famous across Germany, setting the stage for his rise to power. In late 1938, a Swiss theology student named Maurice Bavaud bought a pistol and began stalking Hitler across Germany. Bavaud was convinced the so-called Führer was a threat to the Catholic Church and an incarnation of Satan, and he considered it his spiritual duty to gun him down. He finally got his chance on November 9, 1938, when Hitler and other Nazi leaders marched through Munich to celebrate the anniversary of the beer hall putsch. Bavaud took a seat in a grandstand along the parade route and waited until Hitler approached. He had his pistol tucked into his pocket, but before he could draw and take aim, crowd raised their arms in a Nazi salute and blocked his view. Bavaud reluctantly gave up his hunt and was later arrested as he tried to stow away on a train out of Germany. When the Gestapo found his gun and maps, he confessed under interrogation to plotting to kill Hitler. In May 1941, he was executed by guillotine in Berlin's Plötzensee prison. Georg Elser was a German carpenter who didn't like what the Nazis were doing to his country. He was sure that Hitler's leadership would lead to war and destroy Germany's economy. In 1938, he decided he had to take action to stop Hitler. Elser found out that Hitler would speak at a brewery in Munich in 1939. He thought this was his chance to do something. So, he spent months building a special bomb with a timer that would go off 144 hours after being set. Once his bomb was ready, Elser moved to Munich and began a secret mission. Each night, he snuck into the Burger Braukeller to carve out a hidden space in a stone pillar behind where Hitler would be speaking. It took him weeks of sneaking around and careful work, but he finally installed his bomb in the pillar. Elser set the bomb to explode on November 8, 1939, during Hitler's speech. But luck was not his side. Speech timing was off due to Hitler's schedule change. The bomb exploded 8 minutes after Hitler had left, killing 8 people and injuring many others, but missing its target. Elser attempted to flee to Switzerland but was captured, leading to his execution in 1945. Though unsuccessful, his bold attempt to stop Hitler remains memorable. On March 13, 1943, an incredibly bold plot to kill Hitler took place at the Smolensk post in Russia, where Henning von Treschow, a German officer who disliked the Nazis, was stationed. When Hitler visited the post, Treschow saw his chance to strike. Before Hitler and his team boarded their plane back to Berlin, Treschow asked a staff member if he could carry a package to a friend in Berlin. The staff member agreed, not knowing that the package contained a bomb disguised as 2 bottles of Cointreau brandy, with a 30-minute timer. Treschow and his fellow conspirator, Fabian von Schlebendorff, hoped that killing Hitler would be the turning point for a coup against the Nazi leadership. They anxiously waited for news, but just a few hours later, they heard that Hitler's plane had landed safely in Berlin. The bomb had failed to go off, leaving Treschow and Schlebendorff confused and worried. They didn't know why their plan had failed, but they feared that the discovery of the bomb would lead to their capture and the execution of many others involved in the plot. Treschow quickly called the officer who had the package and told him there had been a mix-up. The next day, Schlebendorff traveled to Hitler's headquarters and retrieved the package, replacing it with 2 actual bottles of brandy. Upon inspection, he found that a defective fuse was all that had prevented Hitler's plane from being blown out of the sky. Just a week after Treschow's daring attempt with the brandy bomb failed, he and his company conspirators prepared for another shot at taking down Hitler. This time, they planned the assassination at an exhibition in Berlin, where Hitler was set to tour a display of captured Soviet flags and weaponry. An officer named Rudolf von Gersdorff stepped forward, volunteering to carry out the attack. Gersdorff scouted the exhibition hall but quickly realized that security was tighter than expected. Planting a bomb without being noticed seemed impossible. His only option was to carry the explosives on his body and detonate them when he got close enough to Hitler. It was a suicide mission, but Gersdorff was undeterred. Gersdorff decided to go ahead with his plan. He tried to stick close to Hitler during the exhibit on March 21. The bomb had a short fuse of only 10 minutes. But despite Gersdorff's efforts to make the tour last longer, Hitler left through a side door after just a few minutes. Gersdorff had to hurry to the bathroom to deactivate the bomb with only a few seconds left. In the summer of 1944, shortly after the D-Day invasions, a group of German officers decided to kill Hitler in order to save Germany from further destruction. Stauffenberg, a brave colonel who had lost an eye and one of his hands in battle, led the group. He and his friends planned to kill Hitler with a hidden bomb, and if they succeeded, they would try to make peace with the Allies. Stauffenberg executed the plan on July 20, 1944, during a meeting at Hitler's command center, carrying a briefcase loaded with plastic explosives and connected to an acid fuse. He positioned it near Hitler before leaving the room. Moments later, the bomb detonated, causing extensive damage to the conference room and claiming 4 lives. However, Hitler narrowly escaped with minor injuries as the briefcase was moved behind a thick table leg just before the explosion. The failed assassination attempt led to the swift arrest and execution of Stauffenberg and others involved. After the failed assassination attempt, Hitler reportedly said he was immortal, but he became more fearful and was rarely seen in public before his suicide on April 30, 1945. The July plot is remembered as one of the most serious attempts to end Hitler's reign, but it ultimately failed, leading to severe consequences for everyone involved.